Hey you guys, what's up? It's Strange here. Just want to make a video. Today's the Trails video today. And I figured it's time to make the tier list. So when I make later videos, you guys can refer to this video to see which characters I really like, which characters I don't like, which characters I find to be the best, and which characters I find to be the worst. But anyway, I want to hop right into it. But before I do that, I want to tell you guys that there will be spoilers for Reverie and after Reverie. If you guys haven't played those games, there's going to be spoilers as well for Cold Steel 1 all the way through 4. And these are just going to be the Cold Steel characters and characters that appeared in the Cold Steel games, and those were their like main games that they appeared in. Except for one, there's one character, but he's just an example, right? Anyway, the criteria for being an S tier, and the tiers are gonna mind you go F, D, C, B, A, S. We're gonna start from the bottom, and then we're gonna work our way up. The criteria for being an S tier is I need them to have an engaging personality, an amazing backstory, a great design, nice emotional moments, cool moments, and longevity. Engaging personality, that should be self-explanatory enough. They need to be interesting. I need to be able to latch onto them in a sense that like I care for them. If they're just a robot or if they're just emotionless, okay. If they're just a robot that doesn't grow or an emotionless person that doesn't grow, then that's not fair. That's not fun. They need to have a great backstory as well, something that really explains their motives and explains the way that they are. It doesn't need to be dramatic, but it does need to explain the way they are, and it does need to, I think, have a good job of doing that. Great design should be self-explanatory. This is all based on just my opinion, by the way. So if you think the character is designed cool and I don't, then of course that's completely fine. That's, opinions are opinions for a reason. Um, I want some nice emotional moments for these characters. I want to see all sides of them, not just one side, and that's important. I think Trails does that really well in showing all sides to a character. I want cool moments as well. Trails is primarily RPG, an action RPG, well, kind of a turn-based RPG, but there is action into it. So I want there to be cool moments that involve action with my characters, at least the characters that I like. And I want there to be some good longevity with all the other criterias. So if that's kind of just there, just so if like the short-term characters and the characters that were there for like one game don't get completely shafted. So for instance, if a character is there for one game and he's not getting that much screen time, but every time he's on screen, he has a cool moment and emotional moments. They're going over his backstory while he's looking cool and his personality is great. There's no filler. That makes him an S tier for me personally. Now that's very rare, but that still makes him or her an S tier because there's very few. There's not that there wasn't filler for him. So for me personally, I think that's going to be the criteria for being an S tier character. Anyway, let's hop into it. We're going to start with F tier, and the tiers are going to be above me, or the singular ones, or to the side of me. I'll decide later. But we're going to start with Angelica. So with Angelica, she's F tier, mind you, just because to me personally, she's annoying, and everybody kind of acts meh around her. Like they kind of are a little bit off put by her. Makes sense to, because of her personality, but she doesn't really have anything that makes me care for her as a character. She doesn't have an engaging personality. The backstory isn't really there. We only really see her like messing with her dad, kind of, and Cold Steel. I think that was three. I think that was three. I think it was three. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was three. Where she's or no, I think it was two. It's either two or three. Where she's messing with her dad and she has to fight her dad and stuff like that. And that was kind of cool, don't get me wrong, but even still, I just she leaves so much to be wanted. Her design is kind of meh. I like her newer design as opposed to her old design, the leather suit. The leather suit was just kind of lazy. Her new design is definitely cooler. It does give off a laid back, noble look, but even still, I think that they could do better. And her emotional moments surrounding her, I can only really think of two. Was when she beat her dad in that fight, and when Crow passed, or when she had heard word of it, I guess, because she wasn't even there when he did. So even her emotional moments are again kind of meh. If I'm not gonna like her backstory, most likely her emotional moments are gonna have little to bear for me, or little bearing on me. Her cool moments, she does have maybe one or two. She has one cool moment for me, but again, that longevity where it kicks in, she only has one cool moment, but she's been in these games since Cold Steel 1. She would need to have consistently cool moments. So I just want to give an example of that's what's F tier, and that's the only character that is F tier for me personally. Moving on to D tier, I think this one is the one I was talking about earlier, how there's only one character that isn't a Cold Steel main character. Now, this is mainly jokingly, but it's gonna be Agate or Agate, however you want to say his name. Agate is definitely D tier. I'm not. I'm just gonna get this out the way. The whole Tita thing is a little weird. Just a tad bit weird. I don't really like. I don't. I don't really like that. I don't really like. It's definitely weird. He's like 10 years older than her. Even if he isn't, like, even if he's 8, she's like a freshman in high school. It's weird. I gotta say, even I don't think she's in high school because even in the Daydream for Reverie, she's just getting into high school with Ren. She's the same age as Ren. So yeah, it's weird. It's just weird. He doesn't really have that great of a personality, in my opinion. For these games, for Cold Steel, he might be. I know he appears in other games, but his personality is kind of lackluster in Cold Steel. The backstory, I don't really know it that much. His design is kind of cool, I guess. I understand he's a bracer, but I feel like you could have a better design than that. He has one. He has definitely some cool moments. Every time he does appear on screen, I think that was why he was D tier. I rated him. He does have cool moments, and the longevity of those cool moments sticks. He's consistently cool. I get that. Anytime he gets into action, he's a he he delivers. He definitely delivers. The next one I have is Cayenne. Duke Cayenne from Cold Steel 2, or the main villain of Cold Steel 2, I guess. Now, Cold Steel 2 was way more of a Reed and Crow game than it was a Duke Cayenne game. I am willing to admit that. But Cayenne could have been so much more. He could have been only second, I think, in my personal opinion, intelligence wise. He should have been second only to the Chancellor. Maybe Rufus. So Rufus and the Chancellor should have been above him. Cayenne should have shown the utmost intelligence, but instead it seems like he just faltered and he was easily thwarted. Not even easily, but he was thwarted pretty handily. The only thing that Cayenne really has working for him is the design. That's it. I like his design. It's a pretty nice design. I don't know the designer for Trails, forgive me, but I do think he does a really good job for the most part designing characters. Some of these on this list, I'll be like, oh, he doesn't have a good design, or this person doesn't have a good design. But most of these characters, that's kind of like the bingo free card for most of these characters. Most of these characters have a really cool design. Um, anyway, let's get to C tier. We have Aurelia Le Guin, the Golden Rakshasa, now, and also the principal of the branch campus of Thor's. Now, I have her in C tier, and mind you, C tier is just supposed to be representative of not necessarily bad characters, but not necessarily great characters either. You could say mid, yes, but mid isn't bad. Like, literally, it's not bad. It's just that these characters are needed for the story and they serve their purpose, and that's about it. They don't go above and beyond, and that's completely fine. So, Aurelia, I would say C tier. She's pretty mid. She doesn't have anything. She she has things to offer, but she's just the things that she lacks, such as a backstory. As far as I know, the only thing that we get as far as a backstory or any of her future plans was that she just planned to be strong, get a strong husband, and then have a strong kid. Was when she was talking to Reen, I think in Cold Steel 3. Yes, that was all we got from her, and other than that, it's just she still lacks that whole backstory element. Her design could be cooler as well. It would have been really awesome to see her during like the whole war thing, or during when Reen was captured. Maybe even it would have been really cool seeing her have a different outfit. I just think the office lady kind of outfit is kind of meh, even if you do take into account the cape coat that she has. Um, her emotional moments are also kind of lacking. I do like her as a character. Her personality is great, but her personality isn't great for emotional moments. So, kind of giving her the one for the personality, but taking the one away for that emotional moments. The way she acts is very laid back, And I like that because it's juxtaposed to when you're hearing about her, when you first see her for the first time, you learn that she mastered two schools. I forget what the other one was, but it was definitely the Arcade school. It was Arcade and Vander school of combat. So you learn that she mastered those two schools, which is a triumphant feat. And you think that she's going to be very, very, very just strict and stern, but no, she's pretty laid back actually, and she even breaks the rules a couple times herself, or breaks her, whole, you would think her being strict rule, but no, she's pretty outgoing. So I give Aurelia a C tier. She's the only thing she is lacking was backstory and design, and and those emotional moments, but everything else, she's able to consistently provide you a great personality, consistently provide you uh some cool moments, and the longevity for that gives her another point. So yeah. Next one we have is Black Albrecht. He lacks that personality. Off top, Black Albrecht lacks a personality. Now the backstory is definitely there if you include the whole Franz backstory line, which I do. That's a great backstory line. I love that. I wish Black could have been more of a villain. It's cool that he's a puppet master essentially, and it would have been really cool to see him kind of trying to puppet master the Chancellor, trying to do puppet master everybody else, and getting his hands a little tied. But hey, I'm not the writer. I'm glad how the way it turned out. He turned out pretty good. He was still a pretty good villain. He lacked the personality. He kind of was an empty slate. I would have liked to see more of the internal conflict with Franz and Black. The cool moments, he doesn't really have any, and he doesn't have that longevity either, or the consistency. I should just rename that to consistency, but it's longevity now. But whatever, consistency, longevity. He doesn't have that. Celine. Let's get into Celine. Now, Celine is an interesting one because I think Celine has those cool moments. Her backstory is kind of tied in with Emma's, but then again, I think characters that have a tied in backstory just in the full front have, like, just in general, less of a backstory than any other characters. So Celine's backstory is kind of lacking. Uh Her design, I don't really dig her design. I'm not even talking about the cat one. I'm talking about the human one. The human one's like, it's a little just, it's, I guess it's all right. It's fine. It could be better. Her emotional moments that she has are kind of whack, but I do think if we're focusing on the good for her, the good is that she does have great cool moments. She has an amazing, all throughout Cold Steel 1 to even the start of 4, she is sticking with Reen. Now it might be like a kind of tsundere thing where she just like, oh, he's not my friend or anything, but you could tell she really thinks Reen as a friend. She sticks with him throughout all of the crow things that were happening, when he was a teacher, when he got captured by the Chancellor during the Twilight Plan, or the Twilight Plan. She's Celine's ride or die, and that is, I gotta give it to her. And she is consistently ride or die. Her backs and her personality is fun too. When you first see her, you think that she's a normal cat, but eventually she has a personality that kind of will grow on you, and it has a little nice juxtaposition with Emma's personality. The next one is Elliot. I gotta say, Elliot, man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't really like Elliot that much. I think he's so mid. I think he's all right. I feel like a lot of people like Elliot, and maybe it's just me seeing what I want to see, or seeing what I don't want to see. But I feel like a lot of people like Elliot. I don't really like him that much. He only has the only thing going for him is the emotional moments that he has, and the longevity that kicks, and the consistently emotional moments that he has. He's an emotional character, and it shows. And I like that. He's a musician. He has the things going for him, and he has that entire little subplot for him going. But his backstory is kind of meh. I don't really care about the whole general backstory. His mom, or there's no stakes for me to care about and make me care about. His personality is also, I understand he's supposed to be like the very first friend Reen makes, kind of, but his personality is lacking. His design, I like his second year design, or his graduate design, far more than I like his student design. Far more. His graduate design's cool. The little beret though is, ah man, it's so lame. It is so lame. Oh man, they could do. I'm gonna say this a lot. They could do better. They could definitely do better because some of these designs are stellar, and the other designs are like, jeez, man. Um, like I said, he's stellar with the emotional moments and cool moments he has. Let's think. I can't think of any. I'll say let's think. Let's spend 2 seconds thinking. And it's like no, I can't really think of any. I can't really put my finger on any cool moments that specifically Elliot has. The only one I could think of is when Reen finds him and Fee first, or Faye. He finds them, but even then, Faye just kind of she kind of just Fee kind of just completely oversteps Elliot. Like Elliot's like, "Oh, Reen, it's so nice to meet you," blah blah blah, and even then I chalk that up to an emotional moment. It's not even a cool moment. So yeah, Elliot, I don't get it. I don't see it. If I don't see it. Anyway, next one is George or George, however you want to say it, Gorge. George is fine. Again, all these characters for the most part are fine, and these might be the most interesting characters because they also have flaws in the sense that they lack as much as they have, if that makes sense. George doesn't have that kick to him. He lacks the personality. He lacks the design, definitely the design, and he doesn't have any cool moments or emotional moments. But what he does have is he does have longevity. He has longevity with an amazing backstory. Now, with the backstory, here's the thing. That backstory by far bumped him up to C tier. The whole like, oh, he's kind of hidden. He's kind of like somebody you wouldn't expect is great. I love that so much. He is the whole sleeper agent kind of angle he took with it. That's great. That's a creative concept. That single handedly slapped him in the C tier. Like, without a doubt. He would probably be D tier, if not, yeah, he probably would be D tier if it wasn't for that. But that whole sleeper agent concept was great, especially because it wasn't like he's being controlled or anything. No, he knew what he was doing. He knew very well what he was doing. And that's why, to me, it doesn't, that builds on the character. Most stories, I think, would say, oh, he was brainwashed. No, don't say he's brainwashed. Take that step and be brave and say he knew what he was doing. And that's amazing. That's great. I love that. I love that angle on and how to make a character that doesn't seem really that interesting, character that's really only there to get Reen weapons and get Reen orbs and orbaments and stuff like that. How to make that character interesting. George definitely lands in C tier because of that interesting concept. Now, if he had other stuff, he'd probably be a B, A, if not S tier, but he doesn't. Next one is Kurt. I think this is the first one of new class 7. And Kurt is he's all right. He's got some stuff on him. I think the part where I put Kurt, I'll stop talking so hard on the criteria, but I think why I put Kurt in C tier was because Kurt will consistently have really will do really cool things. In Reverie, the one that tops off top of my head, his dad knocks him down intentionally off the mountain, and Kurt climbs back up that in 5 minutes flat, climbs up a tall ass mountain. That's amazing. That is amazing. That's great. Kurt consistently will come out to show and come out every single time. But other than that, he doesn't have anything else. I think he doesn't. His personality is kind of falls flat on his face. It's flat soda. Like you could tell there's something. There used to be something there, or there could have been something there, but at the end of the day, it's just it sucks. It's all right, I guess. Not even sucks. It's all right. It's not offensive. His backstory is also kind of meh. You can't really go that far with it. He's supposed to be the only thing that's interesting about him is the whole I have to dual wield because I can't wield a big sword like everybody else. I guess that's kind of cool. I wish it would expand on that even more, showing what special things he can specifically do in the story rather than them falling back on just that and just the whole I have to use the two sword style. You can do the quest where you get him the two swords, or the two swords separately, but you can get him the other one sword, and I guess that's kind of cool. All right, next one we have up is Leonidas, and I'll count these next two together. Really, Leonidas and Zeno. Yeah, they're cool. They have both of them have good designs. I love their both of their designs, and they both have cool moments. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's why they're in C tier. They weren't in D tier. They're not that bad, and they're not definitely not in F tier because they're definitely not that bad. But they're in C tier. Yeah, they're good designs, cool moments. Yeah. B tier. We got B tier now, and we're gonna be going with Alyssa now. Let me talk about Alyssa real quick. Alyssa, I thought coming into Trails was gonna be so much more. I'm gonna rant just a little bit. I get it. The whole tsundere thing with her at the start and everything as far as just how I guess how her looks and everything and her placement in class 7, I get it. But what I don't get is why the game tries so hard to push her with Reen. I don't understand. Them having barely anything in common has like makes zero sense to me. Like they should have way more in common, even down to the way they act, to the way that they're like she's not like they're polar opposites, and not even like in the cute way where it's opposites attract opposites. No, it's just like polar opposites in the sense of that you guys are being forced together for plot reasons. That's it. It's not really there's not really anything there. Like when I look at Olivier and Sherzard, it seems like yeah they have good chemistry. When I look at Alyssa and Reem, their chemistry isn't really there. If I put them in a room by themselves, what are they gonna talk about? Class 7 memories? I don't get it. But despite all that, and despite my general kind of distaste for Alyssa, I do have to admit that the only thing she really lacks for me personally is personality and design. That's pretty much it. She does have an amazing backstory. Her backstory is great. Off top, how her backstory kind of lends into the whole gnome plot. Her backstory is great, and her being even her mom down to her dad, it's amazing. I can't even speak any more on it, and I can't say anything more on it because they did such a good job writing it. She does have emotional moments and she does have cool moments as well, and she has the longevity to back it up. It's very rare where she'll just not have one of those three, or it's very rare where she won't have one of the three where her backstory is being talked about, she's having an emotional moment or she's having a cool moment. That isn't happening off top. So yeah, this Alyssa, I gotta say, for all the people that are Alyssa stands, I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. But hey, more power to you. Keep on going. Now the next one I have is Campanella. I know Campanella appears in some of the other games, but he appears enough in Trails I didn't want to give him a ranking. I like Campanella. He's cool. I wanted to put him in B tier. Every time he pops up, he's always doing something funny, and I like it. He's always got a kind of go-getter attitude, or kind of a oh well, kind of just a jokingly attitude, and I like that. I had to at least put him in B tier for me. The only thing he really lacks are backstory and emotional moments, but that kind of lends to the character. He's great. He's the kind of the clown, but without leaning so hard into that stereotype. How do you hate Campanella? I really hope with him and Yuna that they kind of build a kind of rivalry there. I would love to see if they were kind of like the last fights in the series, right? Um, I don't know who would go against who, but the last fights in the series I'd love to see is not even overall last fights, but if we're gonna see Class 7 versus Ouroboros, or Class 7 and C's or the SSS versus Ouroboros, I want to see Yuna versus Campanella. Yuna and somebody else, preferably versus Campanella. Just like I want to see Laura versus McBurn, so she can finally surpass her dad. Um, I Campanella is great. I love how he's able to press Yuna's buttons. Yuna and Alyssa are gonna share a couple of things. By the way, it's a little bit of foreshadowing for later. Anyway, the next one we have here is Elise. So, man, Elise is interesting. She's an interesting case. She's only good. I'm gonna say this. She's only good when she's with Alphen and Rain. That's it. She lacks the personality to kind of carry her by herself, and her backstory lends, because they're brother and sister, so it's obvious. Her backstory is way too similar, not similar, but close to Reen's to kind of differentiate it from herself. So in that, I can't really give her extra points, you know? I can't really say, like, oh, her backstory is so unique when Reen has a very, 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 not similar in that regard, but they come from the same place. So I can't really. Reen has just a better backstory. At least it's kind of just there, you know? Um, so knowing that what Reen is kind of knocks down at least for me a little bit. But I will say I do like her, and it bumps her up specifically when she is kind of the straight man to Alfin's whole personality, and she is the doting little sister to Reen. That's great. That's amazing. I love watching that. Those are some of my favorite interactions in the game, and just because she's in those interactions, she's in B tier for me. Like I said, the only thing she's really lacking to me is the personality and her backstory, but she plays a great straight man to Alphen. Now, next one I've seen people say they don't really get the hype for. I 100% do. Gaius. Now Gaius is overall probably he's if I had to pick a favorite from each tier, right? Probably after C tier, Gaius is probably my favorite in this tier. The whole story beats with Gaius and how he's a Gralsritter and how it led up to that. Although it was a surprise, I loved it. I thought it was great. It seemed like he didn't really even need the power boost when he got the Dominion mark and him being a Dominion. But that, I mean, it's such a great little addition to his character. Him even saying like he likes class 7. Class 7 is great, but his home comes first. I think they said that in 2, believe. He gets back and he says, you know, here's the reason that I went to class 7. Here's all this stuff, and here's why I'm doing this is because he loves his home that much. That is great. He is what I think, if Reen wasn't the main character and there had to be somebody else from class 7 to be the main character, Gaius is my number one pick. Number one pick would be Gaius or maybe Crow, but Gaius would be mine for the most part. I think I really like Gaius. Um, Second, well, my bad. Gaius only lacks what he does lack. I only talked good about him. I forgot the bad too. Um, he lacks emotion. He does lack emotional moments. He is kind of a blank board in that regard. And since he does lack those emotional moments, usually he's lacking personality too. There are bits and parts where he kind of it does flare up, but yeah, no, he doesn't. I'm trying to think. No, he doesn't have any great personality moments consistently. So that's gonna put him in B tier. The next one, Yuna. Same thing with Alyssa. I don't get it. I don't get why anybody would like Yuna. I was very angry when I knew that Yuna, the entirety of the game was like, oh no, I knew that Reen saved me, and that was okay. Or I saw that robot. The moment she saw Valimar, things should have been completely fine. Yuna is the king of wasting time. Why? And she knows. After she knows that Reen didn't really get too much of a decision doing things, but she's still kind of cold to Reen. It's like, why? You know that he didn't get the decision. You know that he didn't get the decision. Now, I get it. She can't really just change her emotions like that. I understand that. But throughout the course of the third game, it would have been very nice. Like, the whole game, she's mad at Reen. Maybe just for the first, like, half. Alright, this whole, like, I don't even know, it's not even tsundere vibes, but I guess it is kind of tsundere vibes. That whole thing with her is just very annoying. It's very, very annoying. But I will say she does have a little bit better chemistry with Reen than Alyssa does, so there's that. Um, I will say Yuna consistently pumps out emotional moments. Consistently pumps out emotional moments. She's pretty cool as well. She does consistently pump out cool moments. So she has the longevity, those emotional moments, those cool moments. As much as I don't think the motivational speeches are that cool. When the entirety of Class 7 is there, I wish I wish Class 7 could stand without Rain. Heck, they spent 1 year without him while he was doing the whole like Cold Steel 2 bit, and everybody graduated. I do wish Class 7 could stand without Rain a little bit more. Just like I wish the new Class 7 could stand without Yuna just a little bit more. That independence I can only see help their characters. But she has those emotional moments, those cool moments, and she consistently does them. That's what puts her in B tier. These next two are funny, and you could probably see them up there. But Eustace and Machias. I'll go with Eustace first. Eustace lacks in personality. I do like he does have parts where his personality are great, but he doesn't have consistent personality and his design. But everything else, man, backstory, great, killer. Love that in the first game. His personality, man, great, killer. I love that in the first game. In every other game afterwards, I thought it was really cool. Now, Every and his relationship with Rufus is a pretty outstanding one, but we're just gonna focus on just his emotional moments and his cool moments as well. He has both. He has both. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know for sure. Oh, when he has to fight Rain, that's great. That independence I was talking about with the new Class 7 and the independence I was talking about with old Class 7, he seemed like the only one that could show true independence. Him and Gaius. He was willing to fight, saying, "Hey, I have to fight you. I have to see if you're strong." And that was something I really liked from him. Now on the flip side, we have Machias. Now, Machias lacks doesn't lack personality. He has plenty of personality. He lacks only in emotional moments. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head except maybe his a little bit of his backstory, but that's more of a backstory thing. His backstory is amazing. It's great. Him learning about his older it wasn't his stepsister, but I think it was his cousin, and her, killing herself. That was great. I was not expecting that from Machias. You couldn't tell me that in the first game that we would have got that from Machias. You could not have told me that, or especially in the first part of the first game. I was not expecting that, and that little part from Machias where he shows us, he kind of reveals like this is why I hate nobles. It doesn't fully justify why he should hate nobles. I mean, nothing should ever fully justify why you hate anything, right? Or or why you generally hate or generalize a group of people. Nobles or not, but it does make sense, and I can understand it. It doesn't justify it, but I can understand it, and that builds on his character. That makes him to me a great character. Next one is Muse. I don't have too much to say about Muse. She's cool. She lacks emotional moments and design. She has a couple of emotional moments, but considering she's in 2 games, really 3, she could have more. Um, she's all right though. Muse's all right. She's cool. She's cool. I do like her whole little like really smart bit. That's cool. Um, but then again, I think just the guy who writes Trails, or at least the people who write Trails, really love that Muse archetype because they have many characters that are like that, and especially the little girl characters. They have Rin, she's like that, who's insanely smart. You have Muse, who's like that, who's another insanely smart person, and then you have Nadia, who's like that, who's also another insanely smart person. So maybe they should probably build on that a little bit more, have them be a little separate. It seems like Nadia is more emotionally intelligent. Ren is more technology, good with technology, and Muse is more just overall, I guess, smart. Overall, I can make plans and can see plans. But yeah, Muse's cool. Rosalia is also another one where I'm like, yeah, she's cool. She's all right. Um, uh, Rosalia lacks just the cool moments and the emotional moments. Pretty much it. She has everything else. I like her personality, like her backstory that she had with Dreyfus. I like the design that she has, and I like the cool moments that she has as well. Or sorry, not the cool moments. I guess that's it actually. The longevity I guess is there though as well. She is able to constantly apply that with Rosalia. I know that it's never boring, and she constantly is able to provide lore. And even in the second game when she first appears, was it first or second? I think it's second game where she first appears. It's nice to see her. It's very, 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 very nice to see her. And her being able, or no, it's first game I think where she appears. Yeah, she is able to give the story a sort of, and she was able to kind of transition the story into this kind of more fantasy approach, and I like that. There was magic through like the use of technology through orbaments, but I like that she was able to kind of transfer the story into like, yeah, there's more to these things, and there's more to this world, and she was a great world building device for that. Rosalia is awesome. Now, next one is Thomas. Tomas. Thomas is great. We should see more of him. Just that simple. He appears when he appears and he talks his mess, talks his stuff. He's serious, and I like that. When you can see his eyes, it's great. You think he's a jokester, but no, he is second Dominion, which is insanely strong, and I want to see more of that. I want to see who Thomas is able to 1v1. I want to see who Thomas is able to take on in a fight. That would be great, considering he's only second to Ein. Dude, who's like the Grandmaster of the Girls Ritter, and I think it was Kevin that I read. I think it was Kevin that said that she'd be able to put up with the Still Maiden for a little bit. She'd be able to fight her for a little bit. Ariana, like, just that is impressive. I don't think even Aurelia could have done that because Aurelia had the help of everybody else. Everybody else she had the help of. I don't think she could have done that. But mind you, what do I know? I still haven't played all the games yet. Maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself. That's fair. But hey, Thomas is great. I just need to see more of him. He doesn't have that longevity. He lacks the backstory and he lacks the emotional moments. But I want to see more from Thomas. He seems like a great character, and I don't know. He not even seems. He's a great character. I want him to be built on. Next one is Schwinn. Schwinn was pretty cool. First actual appearance was in Reverie. Or first in-game, I guess, appearance was in Reverie. Schwinn just lacks personality and emotion and emotional moments. The one emotional moments I could really think of for him was him and Nadia separated. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I just thought that was corny. They're separated for a little bit. It wasn't like the whole game. If they're separated for the whole game and they saw each other, then that would have been better. But that came off as just corny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. He has everything else. He has a great backstory. Reading about the backstory with 3 and 9. He has a great kill. He has an awesome design. I love his design, and he also consistently puts out cool moments. Him fighting the Emperor was awesome. Him and Nadia fighting the Emperor was awesome. All right, on to A tier. All right, so as you can see, my A tier is up there. You guys, I think this is so solid. This is a nice A tier. We have A tier here. All right, so with my A tier, I think you guys are gonna like this one. I like, I don't even care. I like this one. This is unabashedly my opinion. I love this A tier. Now, I'm gonna run through these kind of quickly, but nonetheless, we have Alphen, just A tier, goated with it. She fulfills her royal duties, soldiers on. She has a good friendship with Elise, like I was talking about with Elise earlier. The only thing that she lacks is backstory, but even then, her backstory is kind of these games, all these games surrounding her. She's not even like the age that Reen was when we first saw him. So when we see Alphen in the next game that we see her in, she is probably going to be a very well filled out character. Awesome, great character. Same thing with Elise too. Alphen's great, love her. Like I said, so just the epitome of soldiering on. She puts up with a lot for somebody that age, and I give her credit for that. Now, next one is Phantom Thief B. He lacks a backstory. It's just like Alphen, but in a different way. And then in a better way, honestly, I don't want to know the backstory for Phantom Thief. I want it to be multiple choice. Honest, and that's the great thing about him too. Maybe a little hint here and there would plant him in S tier for me, but every time Phantom Thief is on the screen, it's something interesting. Every single time. That makes him A tier for me. Great character. Cedric. Cedric is the same way with Alphen. Uh, he doesn't soldier on. He decides to leave with Ouroboros, and that is completely understandable. Him seeing himself as weak, especially what he went through in Cold Steel 2, um, he already has a great backstory, and he already has enough material for that great backstory. Him being an Iron Blood is also great, and I would love for him to try to be the only one trying to carry on the Chancellor's will. So he's the last son of the Chancellor technically, because the Iron Bloods are the Chancellor's children. So I would like that to be him being Iron Blood, him being the last son of the Iron Blood, versus Reen being the first son of the Chancellor, like the first blood son, and then seeing Cedric versus Reen. That would be cool. I would like Cedric and Reen to be rivals as far as fighting each other. The only thing Cedric is lacking in is cool moments. That's it. That is it. And even when we next see Cedric, I'm telling you, he's coming in and he's cleaning up shop. He should be trained by that time, especially if he's talking with Shirley and stuff, or training with Shirley. Next one up, we have Claire. Claire's cool. Claire is really cool, and this is petty of me. The only thing she's lacking in is like design. Neither one of her designs are great. Even the Iron Blood design, which I like, her like the with the white coat is kind of iffy. They could do better with her design. All right, next up we have Jubilee. Again, Jubilee is just A tier. She only lacks in backstory. These ones are easy actually because when I'm running over these, I can tell you just one thing they're lacking in, and Jubilee just lacks in backstory pretty much. We don't really see too much of what she's done. Why she is called Jubilee the Swift. We see recent examples, but we don't see how she got that name and all that stuff. But honestly, other than that, she has everything else. She just lacks in the backstory department, and anything else that she does on the screen, it's always entertaining. Now this one might be petty for me. Same thing with Claire, honestly. Osborne is gonna be in A tier. It's the design, man. The design's such an important part. Now I get it. He's not supposed to be looking like a JRPG final villain at the very start of the game, but the little like robes and stuff, like he could look cooler, and he doesn't look cool until the end of 4. And we've seen this man since the start of not even start, but we've seen this man since since 1. We've seen this man since 1, and he doesn't look cool until 4. His design's kind of iffy. He could have a better design, but by all regards, by all means, A tier still means that they're a great character. Still means that they're a great stellar character. Um, yeah. So I would say Osborne's only lacking in that regard. That's pretty much it. And at this point, you could really see A tiers just nitpicking. Um, Laura. Laura's lacking a backstory. That's pretty much it. Funny enough, she and her dad are lacking the same thing. She doesn't really need an amazing backstory because it's like she kind of just wants to get stronger. That's it. I would like more to it. It seems why she wants to do that. For what reason? Is it just to surpass her dad? But why does she feel the need to surpass her dad? Stuff like that. Maybe they talk about that. So, but I think I've done pretty much all the lore routes or all the lore romances and everything like that. But other than that, she's a great character. I like her personality. The whole like technology thing. I think the one bit where she took like 2 hours just to text this message or something like that was funny. Um, she's a great character. She has the comedy hidden beneath, and straightforward. Yeah. Now we have Lecter. Um, Lecter pretty much provides. He again every time he appears on screen, he covers every single category. He's only lacking the cool moments. He doesn't have any really cool moments because he is supposed to be the logistics guy, it seems. If you're the logistics guy and you're dealing with the numbers and the plans and all that stuff, I don't see how you're gonna be really cool. But that's not really his fault. Maybe we might see more of him. The Scarecrow is pretty neat. McBurn. Now McBurn is great. I love McBurn, but I have to admit he lacks emotional moments. We don't really see him ever have emotions. He also technically lacks a backstory, but that's intentional. So I can't really count that too much. Uh, like that's like because we know kinda of his backstory and we can theorize around it. Like that's the mystery. Me personally, I think he is in some way heavily related to Epstein, if not being Epstein himself. But yeah, he just lacks emotional moments. I would like to see more sides of McBurn, if that makes sense. Milliam. Milliam's great. She's great. She lacks design, but that's it. That's it. That's it. Another Iron Blood that lacks design. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I think most of the Iron Bloods on this list lack the design portion. She could look cooler. She could look awesome. More even in her class 7 attire, she looks meh. Even in her white rabbit design, even in her white rabbit outfit, she looks meh. I want more cool Milliam, and maybe in the next games we might get that. Sharon, Sharon is lacking consistency with emotional moments. She does have some that are really good, but she doesn't. They're very few and far between. When she had to join Ouroboros because Franz came back or Black came back, that was neat. But other than that, Sharon is again has everything. Every time she's on screen, she had, especially since we didn't know until we knew that she was part of Ouroboros. Every time Sharon was on screen, she had something to say, or she every time she was on screen, there was that aura of mystery around her. Why is she so strong? Why can she do that? Why is Sarah so wary of her? She had everything that somebody could want as far as that, as far as from a character's perspective. Next one is Toa. Again, Toa's awesome too. Toa has everything. Toa's only lacks cool moments, and even then, it's the same thing kind of with Lecter. She's a logistics person, so of course she's gonna do that. But every time we talk to Toa, Toa can lighten up the day for people, and that's great. That's awesome. Now, Victor Arcade lacks the same thing Laura does. Backstory. I want to know is it supposed to be this line that is did Victor ever surpass his dad, and did his dad ever surpass? We could really learn the RCA school through Victor. I would like that to have been an optional choice. Same thing with Kurt and the Vander school, but hey, maybe we might get that in the next game. uh Victor RC, again, when he's on screen, he has a presence to him that kind of drags the story in a great direction. Vita, we don't really know enough about Vita. We don't know exactly why she left. We don't know why she why she has so much trust in the Grandmaster, all that stuff. But Vita is only lacking what Victor is lacking, what McBurn's lack, or not sorry, but Lore's lacking, and that's a backstory. I want to know more about Vita. And this is all good. When I'm saying they're lacking a backstory, that's just like me saying I want more from this character, because if they're already good, they already have such a good foundation. I want to see more. So even then, you can kind of in a way interpret that these ones are pretty much S tier. I just want more from them. There's like they're lacking still. All right, we have two more. We have Nadia and Lapis. Now, Nadia and Lapis lack the opposite of things, kind of. Nadia lacks emotional moments. Same thing with Swin. She has, if anything, to me, she's a better character than Swin. But Nadia lacks those emotional moments. That whole her being separated from Swin, again, I already said I thought was corny. Lapis lacks cool moments, but she has everything else. She has those emotional moments, the one where Rufus is able to pick her out from the group, and her really realizing that she is herself, and those fakes are fakes. Lapis is great. Especially for a new character. First game wise, she came in strong too. Lapis is awesome. Now, S tier. For S tier, we have Altina. First off, was anybody expecting anything like Altina's great? Great backstory, great character development over the series. Strong, if not the strongest character development. I think it's even better than Reen's. Altina is freaking great character. I thought coming in, I thought I saw her character, and I thought, oh, this is just gonna be the bait for the series, like the cute characters. Oh, this is just gonna be heavy bait. But no, she is a genuinely good character to watch throughout the series. Arian Rod, the Still Maiden, S tier. Every time we see her on screen, I think she's a sleeper pick. Every time we see her on screen, she's literally doing one of the criteria. She has one of that criteria on point every single time, consistently. And just due to that, she's S tier. Ash, as even goes further, Ash has that engaging personality. He natural instigator almost. Ash has that great backstory that relates back to the first games that I need to play now. Ash made me want to go play the first games. He has a great design. I especially like his traveling design, the one with the fur. I'm a killer for fur coats. Fur coats are awesome. Definitely why Crow got up in here too. But Ash is awesome. Nice emotional moments, cool moments, longevity. Ash is great. Crow is the next one. Speaking of, Crow has that design too, that design portion. If it wasn't for that, maybe he might be an A tier, but no, he has that nice long feather coat. Crow is amazing. He had that personality. I do think they maybe joke him and Ring do the five coin or the 50 mirror coin joke too much. Wait, a little too much. But other than that, great design, great emotional moments, cool moments, and longevity every single time he is talking. There is something he is saying something that needs to be said. Next one is Emma, and mind you, these are all like some of my favorite characters. But Emma is just awesome. Again, just I all I can say is amazing for any of these characters. All I can say is extravagant. Just she goes above and beyond for Reen, and in the same way that Celine is a ride or die, it seems like witches just raise ride or die people. And to me, that is what puts Emma solidly in S tier, is because she keeps on trying. It's very rare that she just completely stops, but she keeps on trying. And to me, that is something where that would be she has the most in common with Reen in that regard. And I like that. I like that a lot. If you couldn't tell, Emma is my favorite, by the way. Well, Emma, and the next one is Fee. Fee is S tier, great in every department. The Jaeger storyline really built her out. That really built her out. Because we first hear of Jaeger, we're like, what the hell is that? But her being built out so heavily in the first games, or I guess now it's the second games and the third games, the fourth games. Her being built out so heavily like that is what made her character, I feel like, so likable, and she's definitely a fan favorite because of that. Like she's not even just it's not even just like, oh, that's just a me. Even I, who very rarely dibbles and dabbles in the community, can understand that no, he's very well liked. Olivier, I'm gonna say this: he's got everything. Yeah, how are you gonna hate him? I can't hate him. He's got everything. He had the consequence, and that's the thing. I usually hate characters that have everything, but Olivier has also lost some things that are important to him, and that's why I can't hate him, because he's lost things and he suffered the consequences through his actions. So through that and because of that, I like Olivier. Next one is Reen. Okay, so with Reen, here's the problem. There is one problem. Reen, Reen's personality. I want more of Sister Doting Reen, in the sense that he is very apparent, like what his like he means to protect Elise, right? Reen kind of, and I understand this, is supposed to be a self-insert, like most JRPG protagonists are, but at this point, I want him to be more of a in stone character, if that makes sense. Everything about him is pretty great, but I have to admit, although he is in S tier, let's not get this twisted. I do want more personality from Marine. It's just that he's also the main character, so maybe that's why I want more from him. But I want to know what are, because it's like, what's his interest? Sword fighting. Like, I want to know more than that. More than him obviously running errands and stuff. Now, all right, we have Rufus. Okay, so before Reverie, Rufus was solid B or A tier. With Reverie, After a certain point, you know the point I'm talking about. S tier, easily, easily S tier. There's no one that's, I think, if we're talking about best, he's top 3 in the series. I struggle to believe, and again, prove me wrong on this. I love to be proven wrong because if there's a better character, God, I want to find that character. I struggle to think of Rufus being anybody being a better character and having a better redemption and trying to get better redemption than someone like Rufus in this whole series. In this whole series, he has everything, and he consistently shows everything. Even when you first see him, you know that there is something off about him, but you cannot exactly put what it is, and that is the best descriptor for the character I think I can ever say. You know something was off, but you couldn't exactly put down what it was. Maybe it was just a noble, maybe it was just you feeling off, but you knew something was off. Now the next one is Ruger, the Jaeger King. Ruger's awesome. Again, every time he was on screen, especially with Fee on screen or Zeno and Leo on screen, Ruger he went to show out. His lore is great. Backstory was amazing. The whole him fighting the Red Constellation and stuff. What more could you want from him? And in speaking of Jaegers, we have Sarah, not lacking in anything. She does get kind of backgrounded in Cold Steel 2 and 3, but again, Sarah has just everything. These S tier characters just have everything that I want, and that's why they're put so far up. Sarah, honestly, the only thing that I could have possibly asked for was just more of her. That's all. And the last one, without a singular edge of a doubt, we got Valimar. Come on. How you gonna hate on Valimar? You can't hate on Valimar. I don't even have to say any of the criteria again because you know Valimar is gonna reach the top. Top 1 character, easy. We love Valimar. He's great. And if there's anybody who would be an amazing representation of the Cold Steel series overall, any one silhouette, I'd pick the Valimar silhouette. I wouldn't pick any of the other, no Rain, no Fee, no Altina. No, I'd pick Valimar. Because although Valimar isn't with the characters anymore, he still shows his influence on Rain and everybody else to this day. Anyway, that's my tier list. Maybe I'll put the whole thing on there, like, to the side. Or, maybe I might to the side here or something. Or maybe I might not. I don't know. I'll decide. I hope you guys liked the video overall. I try to be a little bit more energetic in this one. Sorry, my sleep schedule's been iffy. But trying to make it better. Trying to get it better. Hopefully though, you guys like this video. Be sure to do all the normal stuff, comment, especially comment, just give me feedback. I'm not gonna have music in this one, so please tell me if you guys like that or if you don't like that. And if you guys have any ideas, of course, on what you guys would want me to cover, or any questions, like if I'm into certain things or not, then let me know. I'm trying to get better at this whole YouTube thing. I really am. It serves as a good exercise for me too. But yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. You guys have a good one, and I'm gonna head out. See ya.